If you'd like to read along, visit shahnamequest.substack.com for transcripts, illustrations, and bonus content. In the last story, we left off with the marriage of Fereydoun's 3 sons to their 3 brides from Yemen. And this episode continues from where that left off, which is the brothers now traveling back to Iran with their wives. Having received news that his sons are now married, Fereydoun decides that now is the time to assign them names. But in order to do so, Fereydoun devises a test. He will transform himself into a dragon and ambush his 3 sons on a remote mountain while they're on their journey back. How each son will respond to the threat of the dragon will determine what Fereydoun chooses to name them. As the 3 brothers reach the mountainside, Fereydoun in dragon form flies in and menacingly breathes fire at them. The eldest son determines that it is never wise to try to fight a dragon, and doesn't hesitate to flee and run as far as he can from it. The second son takes out his bow and bravely challenges the dragon to a fight. And the youngest son goes one step further and even laughs at the dragon, mocking it as just a mere leopard compared to the might of Fereydoun's sons. His fatherly test now complete, Fereydoun sheds his dragon form and becomes his human self again, revealing to his 3 sons that it was him all along. The sons lovingly kiss and embrace Fereydoun, and he reveals that this was a test to determine what their names will be. To his eldest son, Fereydoun assigns the name Salm, befitting his instincts to play things safe and not hesitate to frantically flee danger. To his second son, Fereydoun assigns the name Tur, a name befitting his courage and strength in challenging the dragon. And to his youngest son, Fereydoun assigns the name Iraj, befitting his perfect balance of ferocity and prudence. Fereydoun singles Iraj out as the one son among the 3 who exhibited the true qualities of kingship. Fereydoun also names his sons' wives. Salm's wife becomes Arezu, which means desire. Tur's wife becomes Mah-e-Azadeh Khui, which means free and noble moon. And Iraj's wife becomes Shahi, which means regal. Having now named his 3 sons, Fereydoun secretly orders each of their astrological charts to be read to him. Salm's astrological chart has Jupiter in Sagittarius, which signifies good fortune. Tur's chart has the sun ascending in Leo, signifying courage and triumph. But Iraj's chart, which has moon in Cancer, troubles Fereydoun deeply, because that signifies turmoil, pain, and vulnerability. So Fereydoun starts to become worried that Iraj is perhaps not as favored by God as he had hoped. Now having seen these 3 astrological premonitions, Fereydoun proceeds to divide the whole world into 3 realms, one for each of his 3 sons. To his eldest son Salm, Fereydoun gives the lands west of Iran, up through to what we would call Europe today. To his second son, Tur, Fereydoun gives the lands north and to the east of Iran, up through to China. And to Iraj, his youngest son, Fereydoun gives the realm of Iran itself, which also would include Arabia and his own throne. So Iraj becomes the new heir apparent to Fereydoun's kingdom. And thus the world is divided into these 3 realms. Years pass, and each brother guards his respective territory as King Fereydoun becomes old and weary with age. But all of this while, something dark has been festering inside Salm, the eldest brother. He's been quietly seething with resentment and jealousy that his youngest brother, Iraj, would be named heir apparent to Fereydoun. And Salm's rage calcifies into a vendetta against Iraj. Salm eventually sends a message to his brother Tur and spurs him on to form an alliance against Iraj. Salm feeds Tur's head with jealousy and theories that Fereydoun has been mad all along for granting Iran to the youngest brother, and so the two eldest brothers form a blood oath to plot Iraj's demise. Together, their first course of action is to appeal to Fereydoun by enlisting a man of faith to deliver a warning message to the king, that unless Fereydoun corrects his mistaken allocation and gives the eldest brothers their due share of land and power, they will send their combined armies from the west and the east to surround and wage war against Iran. The messenger hurries to Fereydoun to deliver the message. Upon arrival, the messenger is amazed by the glorious aura still emanating from the old King Fereydoun, and hesitates to deliver such a horrible message. But Fereydoun commands him to speak, and so the messenger delivers the threat from Salm and Tur word for word. And Fereydoun responds not with fear, but with ferocity and resolve. He says he's known for years what darkness had been stirring inside Salm and Tur, and welcomes the clarity that their souls have now been seized by Ahriman the devil. Fereydoun rages that he will not cede to their darkness, and meets their threats with a powerful and ominous warning of his own, that their day of reckoning by the Almighty God will become their undoing. With that, Fereydoun sends back the messenger. Then he rallies his councils, astrologers, soldiers, and of course his youngest son, Iraj. He tells them all about Salm and Tur's intentions to invade Iran and orders them to prepare accordingly. He especially warns Iraj that Salm and Tur will prey on his emotions and to be wary of their brotherly manipulation and not let his kind and noble spirit trust them. But Iraj, a pure and noble soul, can't help but feel a duty to appeal to his brothers for peace. He tells Fereydoun that he can't tolerate a world in which brothers are so divided, and insists that this conflict must be resolved diplomatically, or else they'll all end up like their ancestor King Jamshid, who lost everything because of his pride. Fereydoun alarmingly insists to Iraj that Salm and Tur are not interested in negotiating a peace. They are fixated on blood and war, and if Iraj goes to them, he risks his own life. But Iraj doesn't listen, and goes off anyway to meet Salm and Tur personally. The panic-stricken Fereydoun makes one last-ditch effort to prevent the approaching tragedy by writing a heartfelt plea to Salm and Tur to at least hear Iraj out, and appeals to their better angels to resolve this rivalry. When the young Iraj finally arrives to meet Salm and Tur, they greet him respectfully and with the traditional royal reception and make peaceful gestures. At first, it seems as though there might actually be a path toward reconciliation, as Iraj flatters and pays dignified tribute to his elder brothers. Salm and Tur listen patiently to Iraj's words, but then Salm notices something that he does not like one bit. His own soldiers, along with Tur's, have been listening to Iraj too, and become captivated by his noble and glorious presence. Sensing that Iraj's charms are now a threat, Salm takes Tur aside and they go into a tent to discuss their next course of action. And that's where Salm's bitter jealousy rears its ugly head once again. He interrogates Tur. Did you notice how all of our soldiers were looking at Iraj? It's as if they yearned to fight for him instead of us. Salm details how he's never seen men's eyes become so seduced as to change their allegiance. This jealousy boils over into rage, and Salm persuades Tur to join him in killing Iraj. That night, the two elder brothers enter Iraj's tent and confront him with angry accusations of betrayal by undermining them and stealing the crown of Iran for himself. But Iraj once more insists peacefully that he never wanted the crown and throne. All he wants is for his brothers to get along, and that if it's so important to them, he will let Salm and Tur have the crown and the throne, if that's what it takes to have peace and love among them. But of course, Iraj's appeal does nothing to change his elder brothers' minds. Tur, unable to bear another word of Iraj's naive talks of peace, smacks him across the face, throwing him to the ground. Iraj begs for mercy and for Tur to not let any blood be spilled, but Tur coldly draws his dagger and stabs Iraj over and over again, covering his body in blood. Then, to end things once and for all, Tur cuts off the head of his younger brother Iraj without any hesitation. Salm and Tur take Iraj's severed head, embalm it with musk and perfume, and send it back to King Fereydoun with their final cold message. Here's your darling Iraj's head. Go ahead and crown it with whatever you please. Having committed the first act of fratricide in the Shahnameh, Salm and Tur retreat back to their respective lands, to the west and to the east, awaiting the response from their once beloved father. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to share it or leave a review. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more Shahnameh quests.